time of the year, especially if you're a college student. Well, at one end, your semester exams are probably going to loom up in a while. CAT and most other MBA entrances are right on the horizon. And if you're looking at a university abroad, then this is probably the time to be working on your application, letters of recommendations, and more of the like. But is it really a good time to think about admissions and entrances if you're in your second year, if you've just come into second year? In this video, I make a very good case for why it's a smart idea to start early and give yourself that much of an advantage when it comes to preparing for the GMAT and also applying to some of the top B schools both in India and abroad. My name is Anand Venkatesan. I'm a founder and mentor at mentorscapital.com. We are a platform that connects students with mentors both in India and abroad. And hopefully, these interesting one-on-one mentorship sessions will make your journey a successful one. So let's get the agenda started. In this video, I'm going to talk about how you can make the most of your second year in college. And basically, I'm going to make a case for why it's a good time to start early and prepare for the GMAT. Well, before I begin, one thing I should say is that most of the information I'm going to give you is something that is actually accessible for most of us. All you need to do is reach out to that mentor who can support you, who can give you the guidance, and in fact can do so precisely because he or she has gone through the admission journey much like you aspire to. Now, this is a model that we also very, very deeply believe in, the power of mentorship. We have a platform that has mentors from across the globe and spanning different academic disciplines from management, economics, public policy, engineering, and many, many others. But more about that later. Please do visit our website www.mentorscapital.com and find out what we have to offer. Well, this video, obviously, I'm going to talk about admission requirements, especially from if you're an aspirant for MBA or masters in the future. And I think in a nutshell, admissions to any university abroad or even to a management program in India is determined by four key aspects of your profile. Number one, your GPA. Number two, how skilled are you and how well networked are you to get all the information that you need. Number three, how many projects, how many internships have you done? What is the kind of meaning that you derive from those projects and internship? And obviously, does that help you arrive at your career goal with a little more clarity? And finally, obviously, the score that you get on your standardized test, whether it's the GRE or the GMAT. Well, it turns out that while these parameters are pretty much the same, whether it's a master's program that you apply for, that you're applying for, or for an MBA program in India or abroad. But I'm going to make a case for how you can, plan the second year of your college, assuming obviously that you've just entered your second year and you have a year before thoughts like, preparing, taking the CAT or sitting for placements or other things occupy your mind. Start early and reap the advantage is pretty much the mantra of this video. So let's talk about these parameters one at a time. It's obvious that most top schools across the globe, including India, value grades, right? They value academic consistency. And even at the IIMs, there's a CGPA. Well, there's not really a cutoff, right? But most students, most candidates who get into top IIMs and also top B schools or master's programs across the world end up scoring a very, very healthy CGPA of around 7.5 to 8, right? So that's the average number that you should be targeting if you're applying for a program in India or abroad. Number two, obviously, this CGPA also has some supplementary advantages, right? It really helps if you're sitting for campus placements. A lot of the top companies that visit campuses end up valuing your GPA, end up using that as a parameter of your ability to work really, really hard and your goal, orientation. But what does that mean in terms of a plan, right? This means that most of the times of the year when your semester exams are nearby are going to be busy in preparing for your semester exams. And if I take a quick look at the 12 months, then most semester exams tend to happen around the months of April and May, as well as the months of November and December. Now, obviously, these are dates which have been assumed by me, right? They will vary from university to university and sometimes even college to college, right? But the approach is what I want you guys to focus on. Take a calendar, fix up the 12 months, and identify the months when your semester exams typically happen, right? If you're in your second year, you can expect one exam to be coming up end of this year and another round of semester exams middle of next year, roughly around April or May, right? So that's my assumption, which basically means that 4 months, maybe a little less than that, but let's be a little, conservative in this case. Let's assume that to get a GPA of 8 plus, you will need, a couple of months of intense focus on your academics, right? So the months of April and May, as well as November and December, are going to be, important for you in terms of focus area, on your semester exams, on your college education. All right. So that's one parameter, and that tells us how to plan, the year ahead. The second parameter is actually quite interesting, right? Because we talked about GPA, but most B schools value goal orientation. And that's something that I've talked about, right? That you need to display your clarity about what you want to achieve. And one very, very good way of showing this orientation is to skill yourself, is to network with people, network with professionals, as well as creative people from diverse fields. When you can do all this kind of skilling up and networking by either, today I think MOOCs allow you to do a lot of online courses, right? It's a very good way of actually exposing yourself to subject knowledge, right? If you're from a technical field, consider doing, courses on data science, consider doing even, preparatory courses in, let's say, areas like robotics or, or even otherwise. Although I would say the more technical it gets, you'll find things of value less in free online courses. You might have to either pay for them or you might have to, go and learn them on the job. The other way of exploring a lot of your skills and at least conveying to a, admission committee that this is an area that you're interested in is to participate or organize college fests, right? It's a great way of displaying your sense of initiative, your sense of enthusiasm, right? So college fests, either some of them, where you would participate and try to get a podium finish, or at the other end, maybe you're part of a club or a society and positions of leadership can be displayed herein. So you'd be involved in the coordination and proper smooth conduct of your college fest. So when does this typically happen? Now, again, college fests tend to happen throughout the year. So if I look at the remaining 8 months after taking away, time for GPA, focus on college academics, that leaves us these remaining 8 months. Well, again, I'm going to make a slight assumption here, right? Most college fests tend to happen a couple of months or so after the semester exams are done, right? Because students need a couple of months to settle down, to elect a cabinet, to plan their fests and basically set up things, right? So a couple of months after your semester exams basically means that you're looking at either the month of February or the month of, somewhere in the months of August to October, right? So these are going to be hot months when it comes to, college fests, and you can probably anticipate being busy for at least 2 months out of the entire year, just participating or organizing a college fest, right? I know that this time can be a little more, but I guess what I'm trying to say is you want to be intensively focused in a couple of months, but other months you could possibly consider participating in events here and there. All right. So that, plans out maybe 6 months of the year for me already. That still leaves me with another 6 months to plan ahead and occupy, my year with a few other things. What comes next? Well, the third aspect, we did talk about projects and internships, right? Now, typical internship season, the most busy time in the year is usually, when your semester exams are done, middle of the year, when you're moving from a even semester to an odd semester. That's when internships tend to be more often than not available, right? So we're talking about a minimum of a 6 to 8 week internship. Sometimes it can end up being a little longer, but these are extremely important. Why they're so important, and why do recruiters as well as employers give a lot of weightage to internships? Number one, they give you exposure to a corporate life, right? They expose you to the kind of expectations, professionalism, and discipline that you need to survive in the corporate world, right? Having worked with a professional organization for a couple of months, you can relate those experiences on your essays, in your interviews, and a lot more beyond that as well, right? So number one, they give you practical experience. Number two, they also allow you to explore various choices, right? Now, in a 3 or 4 year program, since the even to odd semester will come roughly about 3 times, maybe sometimes, uh, you know, I think even in a 3 year program, you'll probably get, two opportunities in the even to odd, cycle change. And so you probably should, if you want to explore more options, you probably should consider even the other, odd to even shift, right? But nonetheless, two options, are healthy enough in order to at least try out two different domains that, you're really confused about. And this probably happens if you're, chasing a program in management, and you're trying to find what is your chosen area of specialization, right? And so typically, uh, you know, you try and explore a couple of areas, and try and fixate on one where your core skills lie in, your core interest and passion areas are in, right? So that's one. And obviously, it's a great opportunity to garner some work experience that in a professional setup that you could then leverage either in terms of, goal clarity, or in terms of, experience and leadership. So when do internships happen? Again, if you talk about the remaining 6 months of the year, taking away time for, focus on academics as well as on college fests and skilling, that leaves us with these remaining 6 months, right? So again, take away 2 months, about 6 to 8 weeks. The months of July and June and July are probably the most common months to pursue an internship. But like I said before, these months are not written stone. Your cycle might be different, so please adapt, the approach to your own specific case, right? So another 2 months taken away, I'm left with about 4 months in the year, which I can use productively for some other activity. And what does that leave me with? Well, we've covered positions of responsibility, we've covered internships, we've covered academics. Chances are in some of those skilling or experience exposure areas, you'd consider also including, something of a social nature, something of a volunteer activity where you work with an NGO, you work with a particular community impact area, right? But if you take away all of that, I think one of the last remaining battles to be won is that of clearing a standardized test, right? Goes without saying that if you're targeting a top university in India or abroad, you need to score well in a standardized test. In India, for MBA, that means the CAT. Abroad, that probably means the GRE or the GMAT. And typically, preparation for the CAT takes about a year. And if you're in your, fresh into your second year right now, then you probably have a year before you can take a serious shot at CAT. Does that mean you sit on your haunches and let the, next few months just pass by? Well, if you look at your calendar, right, we're already sitting late into, the year. We've already entered the month of October, which means chances are in the next 2 3 months you're gonna, take your semester exams. You're gonna get a nice little break, and then the next semester exam is going to be some distance away, right? Right now is actually a great time to plan, your GRE or your GMAT preparation. Start early in your second year, and I say start early because that way taking GMAT is actually a smart idea, even if you're targeting the CAT. And I say that because GMAT is just, GRE or the GMAT typically has a much shorter window of preparation, about 3 to 4 months. And if you start this early enough, then some major portion of your preparation gets done in the first half of the year. That gives you a plenty of time, to take the CAT. Let's say you're taking, you're sitting for MBA entrances, and you want to, study in India. Then the GMAT also gives you the option to apply to a lot of B schools in India today. Not to mention that, you will also be doing yourself a favor, and getting, stronger at some areas which could be useful even for the CAT, right? And last but not the least, once the GMAT is out of the way, you can use the remaining few months to in the next year, in the coming year, to really improve your profile, right? Once the GMAT is out of the way, all that remains is to strengthen your profile, whether it's extracurricular activities, positions of responsibilities, shoring up your GPA, maybe even taking some improvement exams, and finally making sure that you get into a desired field for internship or for a project, right? So you can plan that, and I think the best months to do so start in the next, month or so, which means, either your semester exams are 2 or more months away, then you can start with a little bit of GMAT prep, take a break, focus back on your college academics, and then once those are done, you enter the second phase of your preparation. You can move it up by a couple of notches, and really try to finish the GMAT preparation, finish taking the exam by February or March. And that's probably the smart plan that I would really, really recommend for each of you. This way, you can then focus on upcoming semester exams around April, May, and then, focus on your internship, which would happen in the months of June and July. And by that time, you would have strengthened your profile, and it's time again to focus back on either CAT if you're looking to apply in India, or if you're looking to apply to schools abroad, or colleges abroad. Then you can focus on your applications, then you can focus on, crafting the best essays and meeting most of the early deadlines which happen to fall in the month of September, right? So do think about it. It's a great plan, and it's a plan that works only if you start really early. Well, I've given you so much gyan. Let me quickly also tell you a little bit about us. We at Mentors Capital, I've already said that we believe in the power of mentorship. But what do we use it for? How do we make your life better? Well, I take care of the international admissions wing of Mentors Capital. We have a similar wing that takes care of CAT and exams in India. Well, our services, if you're an aspirant looking to apply to a university abroad, include three broad areas, right? Number one, focus on the last leg of your admission journey, which is to take interviews and other online video or other kind of assessments that most B schools, especially, that most B schools will throw at you. Besides that, if you start early enough, then and you avail of our services, that we can help you with a comprehensive range that starts right from college shortlisting to writing all the essays. In fact, carving a story out after discussions, deep discussions with our mentors. You can really get a hang of what your narrative is going to be like, and crafting the good essay, good narrative on your essay, even the letters of recommendations, as well as the most important, scholarship applications. Right? So all of that can happen if you join us in the months of September, October, and give us a couple of months or so to build your application. Number three, if you start even earlier, then we can help you with preparing for the GRE or the GMAT. We've been doing that successfully for quite some time now, and indeed, if like I recommend, if you start early, we have batches that are already been planned for the coming months, right? So do hit me. The link is there in the description. You can obviously either call us or simply visit our website and leave your number behind, and we'll be sure to call you back and make sure that you get the mentorship, the advice, the support that you need and deserve. All the best, and see you in my next video. Till then, have a great day and a year ahead.